everybody, it's Lauren Brown, also known as Raggedy Royal on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and now YouTube. And today we're going to be doing these faux bleach brows. Platinum brows, blonde brows, however you want to refer to them. That's what we're doing today. I've already done how I do my natural fluffy brows and how I do colored brows. So this is like the third installment in our brow trilogy. Thank you so much. We're almost at 40,000 subscribers, less than 500 away. So, you know, if you feel so inclined, check down below and make sure you're subscribed. Also, let me know down below what tutorials you need for Halloween. I'm thinking y'all gonna need faux bleach brows and vampy lipstick, which is gonna come up this week as well. So let me know down below because I want to help you out with all of the costume needs this season. And yes, let's get right into the video. This will also be part of my Makeup Fundamentals playlist where I do in-depth tutorials and step-by-step videos on like one singular part of makeup so that beginners, intermediate, all levels can learn exactly what they need to know for their face. So I'll be adding that to this playlist. Let's get right into the video. All right, so I put my hair up. I like to say so that it's out my face, but honestly, I feel like if I undo my flexi rods and the curls aren't facing the right way, I'm gonna lose it. All right, so first you're gonna need a light concealer, all right? Now, how do you pick your concealer? Pick a concealer that's not too wet. Don't pick a concealer that's too wet. You wanna pick something that's a little bit thick and that dries down quickly because you don't want the concealer sliding around when you're trying to mattify it, right? I'll show you. Second of all, you do not want to put any brow gel on your brows. Do not put any brow gel on your brows before you start. The only thing I did was just brush them up. Just brush them in a direction. That's it. You don't put brow gel on there because then you're adding wet on top of wet on top. It becomes a texture issue. You have to wait for that to dry down. Also, really important, you need the concealer to latch onto the brow hairs. And sometimes when you put on brow gel, it gives you that lamination effect where they're like flat and you can't really like feel the actual hairs. No, you need the concealer to get on every single brow hair and you need to, you know, move it back and forth. So do not put on any brow gel. We're just starting with clean brushed up brows and I'm gonna go in with this LA Colors Ultimate Cover Concealer. And this is in shade Ivory. I have like all the shades. I love all the shades. They're like all empty. And so we're going to use shade Ivory. And what we're going to do is we're going to apply the concealer right to the brow. And I mean the whole brow. So the tail of the brow, which is the end, the beginning of the brow, all of that. And you want this brow coated because as you can see, since I just put on a little bit of concealer, at first you got this salt and pepper look. What's going to happen is we're going to add a cream shadow on top of this to mattify and get the color perfect. It's going to be very hard to get that light color on top of these black spots. So you really want to make sure that you cover the entire brow in concealer so that when you add your light eyeshadows, they stand a chance. This is kind of like the same steps that I do when I do my colored eyebrows. So if you want to know how I do my colored eyebrows, I have videos on that as well. If you watch those videos already, you're probably like, oh, this looks a little familiar. Because it is. Okay, now we need the other eye. But this concealer is completely out at this point. Let's see. I'm going to go in the Benefit Cakeless Concealer, and this concealer is a little bit more wet, so I'm going to make sure that I don't use a heavy hand. I'm going to do this eye, not for any reason other than I ran out of this one. And this concealer is a little bit more yellow, but that's going to be absolutely okay, because one thing to remember when it comes to bleach brows is that they're not white. Like, they're platinum, not white. Platinum and white are not the same thing. Like, when people dye their hair platinum, that is a blonde, which means it has yellow tones in it, which means it has like brown. It's not a pure white. So it's okay if your concealer has a little bit of those tones. So my absolute favorite to use is the LA Colors one, which was the one I used first. I'm just going to add a little bit on top so that they're the same exact color. And you see, I'm kind of using a soft hand. What you don't want is when you add too much pressure and then it just becomes a blob. I cannot stress enough. You do not want it to be wet because that's when it's going to look blocky, right? So if you add too much concealer and it's just that wet part right there, it's going to look like you drew your eyebrows on with the concealer. Because the entire point is that you need the hair-like texture to really sell it. Fantastic. Let's move on. So, what you're gonna need next is, you're gonna need a flat brush. I'm gonna be using the ColourPop E18. And I'm gonna be using a cream eyeshadow. Remember, platinum is not white. It's like a light cream. It's like blonde. It's not white though. So you're gonna be using a cream eyeshadow. So this is the Beauty Bay Nude Matte Palette. I'm gonna be going into shade and nothing else, which is this shade right here. So I'm going to get a good amount of that eyeshadow on that brush. And I'm gonna start, I like to start at the tail with a light hand. Pat the product on top. I'm just patting. I don't want to disrupt the brow hairs yet. On this side. Now, I'm going to go in with the spoolie and I'm going to just get these brow hairs. Right, so I'm just going to brush them up and I'm going to go in with a little bit more concealer, because you see what happens is, because my brow hairs are so dark and this blonde is so light, you can kind of see like the dark parts of the brow hairs shining through, which is why I said you want to coat the hair all the way through. So this is going to help us with that. We're going to go back in. Let that dry for a second, since it's not as dry as our other concealer we were using. Boom. Repeating that same step, we're going to go in with the eyeshadow. And I hope this is clear, but I didn't say it before. Don't worry about going outside the lines. This is why you don't do your face makeup before you do your brows. I don't have my face makeup on. All I have on is primer in the e.l.f. Liquid Glow. Because what we're going to do is we're going to wipe this all up, all the extras up with a makeup wipe. So don't even worry about going outside the lines, and don't worry about that. I don't want y'all to worry about things that don't matter. There's a lot of things that do matter in makeup to worry about, so save your worries for the valuable stuff. That might be my new mission statement. I really can't tell where we're at right now, like what the brow looks like, what I need to add, what I need to take away. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a makeup wipe. I'm going to go, I put my finger in it so that it gets really precise. This is even better if you have long nails. And I'm going to go right under the brow. And I'm going to go over the brow and wipe away that excess. Very nice. Very nice. I'm going to add a little bit more eyeshadow to the top part. I know what you're thinking. You're going out the lines, you have to wipe it off again. Yes, we are. But I want to make sure that there's eyeshadow on the perimeter because it looks like it's just mostly concealer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the Stone Cold Fox palette. Y'all know when I open this palette exactly what I'm going for. This white right here. I'm going to add just a smidgen of white. And why am I doing that? To add to the beginning of the brow. Your tail of your brow should be the darkest part, right? It should be an ombre. And the inside of your brow should be the lightest part. But the thing about doing colored brows, and especially bleach brows, well, faux bleach brows, is that you don't know how the eyeshadow is going to take. So the eyeshadow just took way better over here. And it was darker. So I just added a little bit of white so that can... Whenever I lean to the side like this, when I hit this, that's because I'm looking in the far mirror. So using a close-up mirror is really good, but I like looking at a far mirror because you can just see, like, does this look right on my face from afar? Because sometimes you up close, it's too many details, you can't focus. So it looks good from afar. It looks good here. We're going to repeat that step and clean off the excess. Oh yeah, oh yeah. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my base, my concealer, my foundation, my blush, so I can show you how I reverse contour them, because if I reverse contour them and then I do my face on top, it's going to wipe it all away. So I'm going to do my base and I'm going to come back. If you know how to do my base, there's a base video that's going to show up right here in the cards, and I'm going to show you how we reverse contour, because usually at this step your brows will be darker than your skin tone. So what you would do is just, you know, highlight underneath. But since we're trying to, you know, inverse that, since our brows are so light, you're going to reverse contour. I'm going to show you how to do that in about 5 seconds. About 2 seconds. I forgot about editing. All right, so my base is on, my lashes are on, my waterline is on, my lips are on. If you want to know how I did any step in this look, I have a video on all of it. I have a video on how to do my base, how I do my lashes, my waterline 101, and how I do my new lip combo. Now, let's move on to reverse contouring the brows. So I'm going to go back into my EYN Nude palette. This palette was also what I used for freckles, which is why this, if you want to know how to do faux freckles, I have a video on that too. I love saying that. I love saying that. That was always my goal. Anyways, we're going to go into the little bit of this shade right here. And so basically what I mean is you're going to go into a tan shade. And you can really use, if you use bronzer, this might be a good time to pull that out. I use cream products to contour. So I don't want to use any cream because the face is kind of set. All of that, right? So first, I'm going to start with above the brow. And you see how it's like you have kind of like a 5 o'clock shadow right here. And right here is just light. We're going to definitely have to blend that out. Okay. That shade is darker than I thought. You see, I'm kind of blending it with my finger. I'm kind of blending it into the forehead. If you get the contour shade on any part of the brow, you're just going to go back over with the cream eyeshadow. So the same thing we were doing earlier. I'm just using a different brush because every time I do my makeup, my brushes literally walk off. They get up and do cartwheels off my desk and I can't find them no more. So same step, different brush. I'm also going to do the bottom. You're just going to kind of follow underneath the brow, just like you would do with concealer, except for you're using a contour shade. You know, my finger, all those harsh points. So you can see this brow compared to this brow, how they look different. I'm going to take, this is actually a TTY brush. It doesn't even have a name, but this is just a chubby square brush. I didn't use a flat square brush because that's going to make it too precise and you kind of want to like have a blending effect. If I used one like this or something that I usually use for concealer, this is eyeshadow. I'm going to need to blend it. It's not like concealer where I can just like drag it down and move it. So I'm going to use something a little bit chubbier and I'm going to do the other side. I'm also going to connect this inner brow to my nose contour because that's what I usually do. I'm going to take a setting powder brush and kind of just try to smooth that over on the top. And I'm going to go in with blush because I always put blush on the temples. And yes, those are the brows. Let me take my hair out and I'll be right back. Alright, so here are the final brows. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video or learned anything, please give it a like. Check down below and make sure you're subscribed because we are, I think, 301 away from 40,000 subscribers. So thank you all so much for everybody who already did. If you want to check me out on my other socials, they're all at Raggedy Royal on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And on TikTok, I do a bucket list series where I try different foods, cuisines, activities. It's a riot. I do so much. It's a riot. So go check that out on TikTok and my other socials to see more of my looks. If you try this out, let me know on my other socials. I would like to see. I love seeing that. And I will see you in my next video. Oh, please let me know down below what makeup tutorials you're going to need for your costume this year for Halloween. Because like I said earlier, I've never celebrated Halloween. So I've done a few looks, but I've never like celebrated it. So I need to know what y'all need help with this season. I have a vampy lipstick tutorial coming out this same week. So let me know. And I'll see you in my next video or in my makeup tutorials and fundamentals playlist where I teach so many other makeup things. Stay a while. See you later.